interrupt this broadcast to bring you something much more interesting. Imagine yourself standing before a door. It is a strange yet inviting door. You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond this door you will find another world. A world of horror, adventure, and fantasy. A world that goes beyond what you know and what you don't. I bid you welcome. You have just entered the Geek Zone.
How does that feel? Oh, and I made some upgrades to your arm. Just wait till you try it out.
Are you Justin Sutherland?
Who are you?
You're on a need-to-know basis, and you just don't need to know.
Well, I ain't going.
You coming now?
I don't think so. Back off, or there will be trouble.
Not so tough now, are ya?
Lady, are you alright? No, I'm not alright!
Excuse me, but what seems to be the problem?
I'm sorry, I just really need your help.
With?
I'm Secret Agent 0.5, and I work for the government. But I've been being teased because I've never seen a James Bond movie. Will you please help me?
Don't worry. We will help you. Right, Justin?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you did just point a gun at me. But hey, why not? Beta, activate the transponder and put it in movie mode. Let's watch 007 Goldfinger.
Yes, sir. Playing the movie now.
Goldfinger, made in 1964, is the third spy film in the James Bond series, and the third to star Sean Connery as the fictional M16 agent James Bond. It is based on the novel of the same name by Ian Fleming. The film stars Honor Blackman as Bond girl Pussy Galore and Gert Frobe as the title character, along with Shirley Easton as famous Bond girl Jill Matterson. The film was produced by Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman, and was the first of 4 Bond films directed by Guy Hamilton. The film was the first official Bond blockbuster that made cinematic history by regaining its production cost in record-setting time, despite a budget equal to that of the 2 preceding films combined. Many consider it to be the greatest and most iconic film in the series. Goldfinger was also the first Bond film to use a pop star to sing the theme during the opening titles, a hallmark that would follow every Bond film since, except on Her Majesty's Secret Service. In the pre-title sequence, James Bond, played by Sean Connery, infiltrates a Mexican drug lord's base by water wearing a dry suit with a snorkel. That may have been inspired by an actual World War II incident in the Netherlands, camouflaged as a seagull. He destroys a hidden building with plastic explosive and electrocutes an assassin in a bathtub.
Shocking. Positively shocking.
Then we come to the title sequence. But considering that we're short on time, let's just speed through this. The main story begins in Miami Beach, Florida, at the Fontainebleau Hotel. Fontainebleau. With Central Intelligence Agency agent Felix Lester, played by Kick Linder. I'm not kidding, his name is Kick. C-E-C. Kick. Delivering a message to Bond from M to watch Ulrich Goldfinger, played by Gert Frobe. Bond foils Goldfinger's cheating at gin rummy by distracting his employee, Jill Madison, played by Shirley Eden. Following a dry remark putting down the Beatles, keep in mind the entire production was filmed and released during the height of Beatlemania, while looking in the fridge for a bottle of champagne, Bond is knocked out by Goldfinger's Korean manservant Oddjob, played by Harold Sakata, who then covers Jill in gold paint, supposedly killing her by epidermal suffocation. In London, Bond learns that his true mission is determining how Goldfinger transports gold internationally. Prior to his assignment, he is issued an Aston Martin DB5 from Q modified with several gadgets, including an injector seat that is much to Bond's amusement.
Now this one I'm particularly keen about. You see the gear lever here? Now if you take the top off, you'll find a little red button. Whatever you do, don't touch it.
No, why not?
Because you'll release this section of the roof and engage and fire the passenger ejector seat. Whoosh.
Ejector seat? You're joking.
I never joke about my work, 007.
Bond arranges to meet Goldfinger socially and wins a high-stakes golf game against Goldfinger with a recovered Nazi gold bar at stake. Goldfinger, who was caught cheating during the game, warns Bond to stay out of his business by having Oddjob decapitate a statue by throwing his steel-rimmed hat at it. Undeterred, Bond follows him to Switzerland, where he unintentionally foils an assassination attempt on Goldfinger by Tilly Matterson, played by Tina Mallet, to avenge the death of her sister, Jill. Bond sneaks onto Goldfinger's plan and overhears him talking to a red Chinese agent named Mr. Ling about Operation Grand Slam. Leaving, Bond encounters Tilly, as she is about to make a second attempt on Goldfinger's life, but they accidentally trip an alarm in the process. Bond and Tilly attempt to escape, but Oddjob breaks Tilly's neck with his hat. Bond is soon captured after a car chase. Goldfinger then has Bond tied to a gold table underneath an industrial laser, which slowly begins to slice the table in half. This then leads to one of the lines that is the most iconic in all of the James Bond films.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Bond then lies to Goldfinger that British intelligence knows about Grand Slam, causing Goldfinger to spare Bond's life in order to mislead M16 and the CIA into believing that Bond has things well in hand. Bond is transported by Goldfinger's private Lockheed Jetstar, flown by his personal pilot, Pussy Galore,
You're joking.
played by Honor Blackman, to his stud farm near Fort Knox, Kentucky. Pussy Galore's name follows in the tradition of other Bond girls. Blackman was selected for the role of Pussy Galore because of her role in the Avengers. Concerned about censors, the producers thought about changing the name to Kitty Galore, but they and Hamilton decided, and I quote, "If you were a 10-year-old boy and knew what the name meant, you weren't a 10-year-old boy. You were a dirty little..." The American censor was concerned, but we got around that by inviting him and his wife out to dinner and told him we were big supporters of the Republican Party. End quote. During promotion, Honor Blackman took delight in embarrassing interviewers by repeatedly mentioning the character's name. Leader notifies M that Bond has crossed the Atlantic, and M requests that the CIA keep an eye on him. Bond escapes and witnesses Goldfinger meeting with U.S. Mafia leaders, who has brought the materials he needs for Operation Grand Slam. At the end of the briefing, one of the Mafia leaders, named Mr. Solo, asks Goldfinger to pay him immediately, rather than wait a few days for the larger return from Operation Grand Slam, as Goldfinger has just outlined. Goldfinger accepts and leads him out of the conference room. Bond slips his homing device into Solo's pocket. The rest of the Mafia are then killed by a gas Goldfinger claims could render people unconscious for 24 hours. It remains a mystery why Goldfinger should take the trouble to detail his plans to the Mafia bosses minutes before he kills them. Solo is escorted to the airport in a Lincoln Continental driven by Oddjob, who kills him before continuing on to a wrecking yard where the car is crushed into a cube with the body inside, destroying Bond's homing device in the process. This also stumps Leader and a fellow CIA agent, who had been tracking the homing device as it moved. It is another mystery why Oddjob doesn't remove the gold bar from the boot of the car before the car is crushed, thus avoiding the need for Goldfinger's chemist to extract the gold from the cube. Bond is recaptured after hearing the details of Operation Grand Slam, but soon learns additional information from Goldfinger himself while having drinks with the supervillain. He intends to radiate the U.S. gold supply stored at the United States Gold Depository at Fort Knox with an atomic device that was provided by Mr. Ling. The device will render the U.S. gold supply useless for 58 years, which will greatly increase the value of Goldfinger's own gold. This will also give the Chinese a world advantage resulting from economic chaos in the West. Gee, that hits a little too close to home. Operation Grand Slam begins with the women pilots of Pussy Galore's flying circus spraying the nerve gas over Fort Knox to dispatch its garrison. However, Bond had seduced Pussy. Okay, hold on a second. I feel so wrong saying that name. Who in their right mind thought that would be a good name for her character? I've said it so many times in this review thus far, and now I feel just dirty.
Ew!
But I don't want to keep saying Miss Galore, that just sounds too formal. That's it. I give her a new name. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Bond's new girl, Sue.
My name is Sue. How do you do? How you gonna die?
You're joking.
Okay, so Bond seduces Sue and persuades her to contact the CIA and replace the poison with a harmless gas. The military personnel of Fort Knox convincingly play dead until they are certain they can prevent the criminals from escaping the base with the bomb. They choose this plan because Goldfinger had earlier suggested that if thwarted at Fort Knox, there was no telling where he might explode the device. So the CIA intends to trap both Goldfinger and the bomb beyond any reasonable hope of escape. With the military forces neutralized, Goldfinger's Chinese agents blow up the gates at Fort Knox with dynamite and gain entry into the loading dock with the industrial laser. As they gain access to the vault itself, Goldfinger arrives in a helicopter with the atomic device. Oddjob handcuffs Bond to the device and lowers both into the vault.
I'm going down. I'm going down.
As Goldfinger and his men prepare to leave, the army troops surround them and all but wipe them out. Goldfinger, however, has planned for every contingency. He takes off his coat, revealing a U.S. Army uniform, and kills Mr. Ling and the troops seeking to open the vault, before escaping himself. Goldfinger's henchman, forced to retreat to the vault, intends to shut off the bomb, but Oddjob throws him off the balcony to his death. Bond retrieves the man's key and unlocks his handcuffs. But before he can disarm the bomb, Oddjob races down the stairs and attacks. Bond manages to duck under Oddjob's lethal hat, but the fight that follows proves that Oddjob is the superior combatant. A second hat throw by Oddjob also misses and cuts an electrical line, with one of the severed cables laying loosely on the floor. Finally, Bond retrieves the hat and tries to throw it himself, without success. It wedges tightly between two of the vault bars. When Oddjob tries to recover it, Bond gets the electrical cable and brushes the exposed wiring to the metal bars, electrocuting Oddjob through the metal in his own hat.
Shocking.
Turning to the bomb, Bond manages to force the lock open by hammering it with a pair of gold bars, but the mechanism inside baffles him. With the clock winding down, Bond tries to randomly yank out a bundle of cables, but an atomic specialist reaches past him and simply turns off the device with a switch. 7 seconds before it detonated. The stopped clock is shown stuck on 007.
You're joking.
With Fort Knox safe, Bond is invited to the White House for a meeting with President Lyndon Johnson. He boards a military Lockheed Jetstar for Washington, D.C., but Goldfinger has forced Sue Galore to hijack it and fly to Cuba. Bond and Goldfinger struggle for Goldfinger's gold-plated revolver and shoots a window, creating an explosive decompression of the aircraft. Goldfinger is blown out of the cabin through the window.
You're joking.
With the plane out of control, Bond rescues Galore and they parachute safely from the aircraft before it crashes. In the final scene, Leader is shown over them in a helicopter searching for Bond, who is far too busy with Sue to care about the rescue at the present time. Well, there you have it, 007 Goldfinger. Now let's review. The acting in this movie is very good considering the time era it was made in. The only problem is Goldfinger. His acting is subpar at the very best. He just isn't that threatening as a villain. His henchmen are actually more threatening than he is. But there is more good acting that outweighs the bad, so I will give acting a 4.5 out of 5, an A-. The flow of the movie moves along at a nice pace. Even during the slow parts, the movie never feels slow. The only thing I can say is 4.5 out of 5, an A-. The interest factor is hard for me to judge. I like this movie, but it is definitely the type of movie that you have to have a taste for. So going off what I think, I will give it a 4 out of 5, a B-, for being good, but not being for everyone. The music score in this movie is pure classic. Everything in this movie in terms of music just screams Secret Agent. I don't think they could have picked better music if they tried. Music score gets a 5 out of 5, an A++. The plot is simplistic yet very appealing. However, like interest factor, its score is dependent on whether you like this kind of movie or not. This keeps the plot from being a perfect score. However, the plot is very likable for someone who does like these kind of movies. Therefore, a 4 out of 5, a B- seems about right. Replay factor is about average. You watch this movie once, and then you don't watch it again for a while. It sits on your shelf, gathers dust, till one day you're looking for a movie to watch and find it by accident. Then, rinse, lather, repeat. Replay factor gets a 3.6 out of 5, a C-. The special effects in this movie are decent. Some of the effects have stood the test of time, while others appear outdated and lame. Overall, I would say special effects gets a 3.9 out of 5, a C+. Now let's tally up the score. Acting, 4.5 out of 5. Flow of movie, 4.5 out of 5. Interest factor, 4 out of 5. Music score, 5 out of 5. Plot, 4 out of 5. Replay factor, 3.6 out of 5. Special effects, 3.9 out of 5. Total, 29.5 out of 35, giving 007 Goldfinger an 84%. Congrats, Goldfinger. You get a grade of B-. Now, would I recommend this? Absolutely. If you're a fan of James Bond, Secret Agents, or just a good action flick, 007 Goldfinger is a movie you might like. If you don't like James Bond, Secret Agents, or action flicks with outrageous semi-implausible plots, then you won't like it. But as for me, the movie is a good one. That's enough for this review. I have to go save the world or something. Later. There. Now you can say you've seen a James Bond film.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful. I'm going to give you a gift.
Gee, a remote. Just what I always wanted.
Now it's a special weapon, so be careful.
Oh, come on, don't be such a wuss. Let's see what this thing can do.
We now return you to your normal broadcast. Thank you.